Let's see if the there it goes. Yeah, I sent you that screen cap of me at work where it showed one of my coworkers, actually my boss, and then a high-ranking person at another firm,
yeah,
consulting firm, and it's like both of them are in normal places, with pictures on the walls, furniture, and then you just see me. And
cinder block.
It's just cinder block background. And the thing is, I had taken all my lamps out of there too because I was getting ready to move. So I didn't have like indirect lighting. All I had was like a light overhead. So like my face is all in shadows too. And it just looked like I was working from a prison cell. I sent that to somebody and they thought it was a fake background. I just picked a stupid one. They didn't realize, that's.
I mean, that would be that's nice of them, but that would be really retarded to make that as your background.
Well, what's more believable, that I just picked a stupid background for fun, or that I actually live in a prison cell?
It froze for a second.
Yeah. Okay. So, dude, I had all these notes for this whole weekend, and and they were all applicable. And then with 5 laps to go, just throw them all away.
Who almost got it, man? I was one guy away.
Oh, you don't get any credit for calling that race.
No.
Hey, I was one guy away though. That was pretty cool.
Did you like the name of the stream?
Yeah,
dude. This is why everybody loves Brad.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think I have been like on the edge of my seat watching some like competition for at least a decade. Dude, it's been forever since I was like.
I would say the last one that comes to mind was, and this is even a bigger game, but it might have been the Patriots comeback in the Super Bowl when they were getting the 2 touchdowns with the 2-point conversions in a row to come back on the Falcons, and you're just like every play.
Yeah. No, that was
it is very rare for.
But Brad had a good race last time too.
Oh yeah, awesome race last time, but holy shit! He
won here last year too, right?
Where did he get his win last year? If you could look,
I thought he won in Austria. I thought he won at KTM home.
Yeah, he might have. You should check. It's in another tab, but dude, I can only relate. I've never been on slicks and ret, but I think the closest I could feel to that was when I'm riding a big, heavy street bike on like really loose dirt. Where you're like tiptoeing. Dude, every time you lean the bike, you feel like it's squirreling on you, and you're like, you don't want to stiffen up, because if you stiffen up, you have to kind of stay loose, but you can't let the bike get away from you. It's terrifying. And this guy was doing it. When Pecco came around the last corner at like double the speed of the other guys.
He won in Brunel.
Yeah, okay. Oh, dude, that
was an incredible race. I felt bad for Zarco though.
Happens. Yeah. He's done really good. It's kind of like other people have crashed. He hasn't. So.
But he just had a good practice. He had a good practice.
Yeah, he looked really good the whole way through.
Looking at him throughout the free practices, I was actually thinking / hoping he was going to get it this year. It was
like this could be his weekend. And I mean, I don't know what else needs to be. There's tons to talk about this week. I don't know what else needs to be said about the end of that race other than Brad has insanely huge balls. And yeah, Brad just has insanely huge balls to stay out there on slicks. Is watching everybody peel in, and then just Brad just like, nah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's see if I can do something here.
Yeah, I mean, that was the bravest thing. I mean, brave. I'm not attacking brave like running into a burning building, but brave in like a sports sense. Like bravest thing I've seen in a race. What comes to mind too is Mark. A few years ago, Mark stayed out on slicks in qualifying, and he was sliding all over the place, but it wasn't that wet.
It's fine. You can call it brave. It's like the chance of just like messing yourself up. That's what he was going in. It's high chance. So that is.
I mean, you can look at I don't know, Greg, if you've seen a slick racing tire. There's not a shred of tread on those things.
No, yeah.
When they hit water, it's inherent like hydroplaning.
Yeah.
The only thing that gets them through the water is the weight. But there's a film of water that they won't sink through because there's nowhere to funnel the water.
Well, he kind of talked about it in his interview afterwards, where he said it was starting to get slick, but he knew he had like 3 or 4 laps to go, and he was like, "I'm just going to go balls out. I'm just going to basically gun it and hope for the best." And that's what he did. Like, he even admitted, he said it was a risk. He's like, it was a risk, but it was a risk I was worth taking.
But I've seen guys in practice sessions when they stay out a little too, or they hit a wet patch or something, or when they're out in the far end of the circuit when the rains come and they can't get back to pit before the second they hit the water, even if they're not even leaned in, they just instantly fall over. It's that slick. And you lose all the temperature in your slicks as well.
Yeah, that's what he said. He didn't have any brakes.
Yeah,
he was on ice.
Yeah,
like the biggest gamble. That paid
off. Yeah.
So what can you say?
I know it's showing Pecco like weaving through everybody, and all these guys going slow, and then it cuts to Brad. You can barely see him because of the rain, and he looked like he was walking his bike around the last corner. And I had this vision of like all these like Disney movies when the guy remember Iron Will when he falls on the finish line and he's like dragging he like falls on the final corner and he's dragging himself to the finish line as everyone's coming fast. I just had that. Holy shit! Brad's gonna fall and he's gonna start dragging his bike
just like
to the finish line,
like pushing it. He's all like hunched over because of his racing suit. Just like trying to push his bike over.
He's just like, and then the crowd starts like clapping, and it just, that was like I said, I had a whole weekend worth of stuff written down.
Well, it's almost like you have to think of all of the rest of the race as a completely separate thing. Because that last little bit of all those guys that, like, those are all their top finishes ever. I mean, Rossi was close to getting on the podium again.
Dude, if Rossi had gotten on the podium, I was really lost it.
I was almost as excited about that possibility. But just the fact that all of those guys had their top finishes ever because of all that, it's like you got to think of the other, 20 plus, like, was it 23 laps, 24 laps as something completely separate. And then that last bit was just like an after thing that almost shouldn't have happened, but it did.
And what about the and if Mark hadn't fallen, he would have taken second. Because Mark's faster than Pecco on wets.
Yeah, did you guys
he got too aggressive before he got heat into his wet tires.
Well, did you hear what's going on with Mark? He said he was having issues with his arm. He took a pain shot before the race.
I did not hear that.
He took a cortisone shot before the race. And
which arm?
The arm that he had issues with, the one that he had surgery on.
Really?
Yeah. He said he was having issues with it, major pain issues with it. And he took a cortisone shot to relieve some of the tension and pain, but he said it was bugging him even during the race.
Well,
he had a great race. Up until he fell, he looked awesome.
That's we've talked about that before. You see that in a lot of sports. Some guy gets an injury and he never recovers fully.
Dude, he looked amazing in that race. He looked just as good, maybe not just as good as previous, but how good he was on the brakes and holding off Pecco and everybody. Fabio looked great on the brakes too until he messed up that one. But Mark was insane. I was blown away at how well he was racing.
I was really surprised at.
Yeah, I thought, if Mark wins if it had stayed dry, Mark probably would have won the race.
Yeah, I was kind of, as I was watching, I'm like, oh, Mark's actually going to win this.
Yeah, I'd have been pretty excited if he had won that race, actually.
But I mean, not to continue on a dead horse that we talked about before, and probably everyone's talked at. There's still something really wrong with those Hondas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're doing the classic. Mark Marquez can ride it and do well on it, but considering the fact that the other, at least Taka, the other two are good riders as well, especially Pole. Taka did way better last year. Like what happened? And so no matter how good Mark is doing, still doesn't mean anything about that bike.
Let's see. I was going to pull up the placing. Oh, because
It was a little weird. I remember Jorge and talk about, okay, how about him, the rookie? Jorge Martin is
dude. Yeah,
very great.
Jorge's
Yeah,
awesome.
he did.
Isn't he? I mean, he's still, even if he didn't hang on to fifth place, because it looked like when the race was still dry, Mir was going to pass him and take that fifth place, and he was going to fade. But that's still an awesome race for him.
He's
the top 5 and a pole position is awesome.
He's definitely the next thing for Ducati. Like the next couple of years, he's going to be insane. Like better than Pecco, I think.
What really impressed me was during qualifying when he was able to actually keep pace with Fabio's second sector. Because if you saw, that's where Fabio gained all his time against the other riders. He was like 4.4 quicker.
Oh, well, none of the other Ducatis could do that, but he was managing to.
So when you start seeing, it's kind of what Fabio did when he came into Yamaha, is he started doing things on the Yamaha that the other riders weren't able to do. And that's what Martin's doing on the Ducati. He's turning it in places where he's carrying high corner speed through areas the other riders can't.
Which says, they're always talking about it like, oh, this next generation and all of that, the new guys on it. Like, it might be Jorge really is the next one after Fabio that is the real explosive new guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it looked like Jack gambled and came in too early for the slicks, huh?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. The other, him and, was it Rins?
Yeah, but Rins also looked slow to me too today.
He was.
He did, but they both went in right after each other is what I was thinking. Way before everybody else.
Yeah.
It probably was a gambling move too.
Yeah, because if it had dumped right then, but it didn't really start for another couple laps.
Yeah.
So they would have paid off. So it was a kind of reverse gamble from Brad.
I mean, actually, quite honestly, it worked out for Brad, but actually the guys that came in at the perfect time. They ran it as much as they could. And that was the time to come in.
If that had been like an extra quarter of a lap, Brad probably wouldn't have won.
Well, yeah, because Pecco was only 10 seconds behind him. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it now. And out of that group of 5 that came in, 1 fell, and the other 3 passed all the guys that stayed out except for Brad. Brad only stayed up in the lead because he was in that lead group. But everybody else that stayed out that was way behind him, they all got passed by the guys that came in for.
And he was able to still push it for another couple laps after they went in. So he made up a lot of time. But yeah, an extra quarter of a lap, at most half a lap, and he would have lost.
I'm so glad Brad stayed out though. So
yeah,
it was great.
That's such a Brad move.
Yeah, dude, that's why we got to get his younger brother in MotoGP.
Like 2 crazy.
Just have 2 crazy South Africans. Dude, what is it with the Anglos being like the, that old like crazy
white boy? Yeah.
It's all. That's not really a thing for. I guess it just seems more true of Anglos. So you get because between the two, the South Africans, an American would be the same way, guarantee it, and Jack Miller, they're all just a little crazy.
Yeah, we see that in other like extreme sports, snowboarding, other things.
I mean, you do get those crazy Nords too. Those crazy, like Norwegians and.
And I was just thinking the crazy white boy thing.
That's what I'm saying.
There aren't any Nords in. There aren't any Scandinavians in racing.
No, I'm thinking when I think of Scandinavians, I think of like what is it? Wing shoot, wing. parachuting with the wingsuits.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
hang
of snowboarding.
gliding or something?
No, the wingsuits.
No, it's the suit where it
The
just
squirrel
has the
suits?
little things between.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's always
flying
those,
squirrel suits, yeah.
yeah, it's always those crazy Nords jumping off into their fjords and stuff like that, off their cliffs. Just being psychos. It's great. I guess we can talk about the other little things from the weekend. I mean, besides Mark
just a
and
little
the race,
thing. Just the little thing. Just a little tiny thing, like Maverick.
dude, that was the.
Sorry, I thought it was. I kind of when I first heard it, I actually started laughing. To be honest,
Dude, I was blown away because I didn't watch any. I was just busy this week with work and getting settled in my place. I didn't even. Sorry, I got sidetracked thinking whatever. I didn't even realize that had happened until I turned on FP1 and they were talking about it. But remember we were talking about, Greg, as a rider, you can't trash your manufacturer like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not just trash your manufacturer. You can't go out there and try to blow up their bike.
Yeah.
I don't know what. He's always been a bit of a head case, but he's almost gone off the deep end. It seems like.
I mean, you can get out there on a street production bike that you get from the dealership and just rev the shit out of it. Way up at the rev limiter, thrash the hell out of that engine, and it'll just take it because that's how those engines are built for longevity. You go out there with a MotoGP engine and you don't take care of it, you'll blow it up. And I've always liked Mav, but you got to kick him off your team. Not just
he's kind of going rogue a little. Dude, he's been doing that for the last little while.
This is a career move too. You can't I know some smaller manufacturer like an Aprilia may still gamble on him. Yeah. Other major manufacturers are like, I don't want this dude on my bike.
That's actually the first thing. That's actually the first thing I thought is Aprilia going to be yeah, no thanks anymore?
Yeah, what happens when Maverick is riding there for a while and he doesn't think they're doing a good enough job developing the bike for his skills, and he doesn't think management's supporting him enough, so he starts throwing tantrums, starts performing worse and worse and worse, then the relationship sours and he just does something, he blows up your bike.
Yeah, he's it was before he announced it, and it almost was obvious looking back that it was going this way about him leaving Yamaha. But it looked like before that, at some point, he just went nuclear, and just talking bad about the Yamaha. They had the whole change of his.
He got suspended.
His garage staff, his team, that whole change is what is? Yeah, he just went nuclear.
And then the thing. So he was already on the edge. It's kind of like the guy that's already kind of freaking out and he just needs another little poke. And I feel like that poke, maybe I'm reading too much into it. I feel like that poke was that qualifying session when Mark trolled him the whole time.
Yeah.
He's finally lost it.
Maverick was already on the edge. If one more person does something to me, I'm going to lose it. And then Mark just comes over and pokes him. And he just lost his mind. Because it's just been off a cliff since then.
Yeah,
the best was when
I think when he got suspended, he made a apology to the media towards Yamaha, and then he said something that Aprilia wouldn't he didn't think it'd be an issue going into Aprilia, that he was he called it a non-issue. And
he's also apologized to his fans for he's at this point he's just losing it, and his publicist or managers say, dude, you gotta say something or else.
And the other thing is, too, before these last couple of races, he wasn't doing bad. I think he was in top 5 total.
Well,
he's having good races.
Right after that weekend where he announced he was done with Yamaha, he took second place.
Yeah.
Or no, it was the weekend.
No, the weekend before.
It was the weekend where all the rumors were out, and he denied them, and then Monday they confirmed it. He took second that weekend, and he's sitting there on the podium next to Fabio, who won the race, and Maverick's just sitting there straight face pouting. And it's like, dude, you just took second place. You have a 1-2 in your factory. That's in your team.
Yeah, I think then he was like a top 5. I think he's dropped down, but I think he was a top 5 for the year.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's what the apology to the fans was about, was his attitude when he took the podium. But yeah, he's compare that to Davi when he was very obviously there were issues with Ducati, and he kept very tight-lipped about it.
Yeah, he still hasn't really said anything about it.
No, and I doubt he will until maybe when he's like finally said and done with it all.
Yeah,
but that could be another 5-10 years
when he's officially done with. Yeah, exactly. Like Casey Stoner didn't really trash Ducati until he was. I mean, he still works in the paddock. I forget which team. I think Casey's with KTM. But he didn't really ever. It's a tight knit community. You don't burn bridges if you don't have to. Just like in any industry you work in, unless there's really something to be gained by it, you don't throw a tantrum and burn all your bridges. Because even if people don't agree with, they don't like the person you're trashing, they don't want to see you coming out and trashing your former bosses, people you have a relationship with. So you just don't do it. You just keep your mouth shut.
Pole has done a little bit of flirting with that kind of line from time to time, but he's never gone completely over like Maverick has.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of cases where riders have been frustrated with their manufacturer, with their team, and things like that. And the same way the team management will come out and say, we need our rider to do better. Sometimes the riders will come out and say, I need my factory to do better. And yeah, it kind of strains tensions, but it's not like that out of the ordinary. Maverick. I mean, that's his namesake, right? He is a Maverick. Holy shit, man. Yeah, I know Yamaha's going for the Triple Crown, but if I was Iwata, if I was the heads at the factory, I'd be like, yo, get this guy the fuck out of there. I don't care if we don't win. Get him out. I don't want to see him in Yamaha.
And he may honestly, it may just be one of those things that he's just frustrated with a few things boiling over. Maybe he just takes the rest of the year, regathers himself, and next year comes back different. But I mean, he's a good rider. That's the hard thing. He's a good rider.
The thing is, this is your first full season watching. Maverick's done this before. Not to this level, but he has looked like a head case. He stepped away, kind of like regrouped and come back, and he's even said, I'm a new Maverick now. I'm a new rider. Like the old Maverick's gone.
That was the big deal coming into this season when he's like, I got married, kid on the way. I'm a new man. He wins the first race. He looks incredible. And then all of the standard Maverick stuff comes back pretty quickly.
Didn't take long. He was starting to show a little bit of signs in race number 2, but then by like race 3 and stuff, when he didn't think he was getting all out of his bike. And yeah, if you're Yamaha and you're looking at that, like you just think, listen, Frankie's going to be fine when he comes back. He does well on that bike. Fabio's leading the world championship on that bike. We don't need some guy out there that's going to blow up the bike, trash us, and just make us look bad. I don't like screw winning the Triple Crown. That's how I'd be anyway.
Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't take the disrespect, because it's as Matt and Steve pointed out, it's not just like you're trashing some corporation here. You're trashing like your army of mechanics, your whole team and everything, that their whole livelihoods are based around your performance.
And personally, with his history, and especially the last few weeks, or maybe last month and a half, if I'm Aprilia, I might not take the chance on him.
You got other options. You could get Davi for a year. You could get there's a handful
Franco,
of other riders.
Man. Go get Franco.
Franco's going to be the factory rider, replace Maverick.
That brings up
Was that already announced?
They haven't inked the deal yet, but the problem is there's like 4 or 5 other contracts they have to sort out, not just with riders, but with teams and all that stuff before they actually get down to the rider himself. But it's like a done. There's nobody else that is proven to be able to succeed on that Yamaha.
And they know that he's okay with riding a shit bike, and he doesn't say anything about it. So
yeah, well, he's gonna have a factory machine. He's gonna have the same machine as Fabio, and
he's a good rider when he's got a good bike. He's a good rider.
It was only a year ago where he was getting just as good a performance out as Fabio did out of that bike. Now he outperformed him in the second half of the season, but Fabio outperformed him in the first half. But when they were both at their best on that bike last year. Yeah, he was just as good as Fabio.
I think my point I was making too is that, but he's okay. Like if things don't go right off the bat, he's just going to put his head down and keep racing. Like that's what he does.
He's not going to be a baby about it.
You could tell there was some frustration, but like class act, he didn't lose it.
Yeah, he was annoyed because his bike was essentially 2 years old.
Yeah,
there is an important thing that makes me think, and even Aprilia's decision might be affected. The whole Patronus thing, the sponsorship.
Well, Patronus, I think they're still sponsoring MotoGP. They're still sponsoring the MotoGP team. I think it was Moto 2 and 3 they weren't sponsoring.
Is that the only thing that's changing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because there's that might be right, but then they're talking about some people are going to just come up now because there's not. Oh, so I was right. The whole team is okay. That's what I thought.
I mean, they still have the CPAN. They still have the team. They just don't have Patronus sponsorship. So Yamaha is going to be looking for another sponsor for their satellite team.
That could, though, change things depending on what direction they go. That could affect things. I don't know how it will, but
they'll find a sponsor. But Rossi's retiring. They have an empty seat, so they essentially are going to have 2 empty satellite seats on the Yamaha, and they'll find some young riders to come in and take those. But their factory team's pretty sewed up. They have 2 good riders. They'll be all right in the factory.
I mentioned that also because Aprilia, they have mentioned that there's guys that are going away because of the teams are getting eliminated from Moto 2 and 3. And there's some possibilities of riders just jumping straight up, like I think Jack Miller did from Moto 3. And so Aprilia is going to have options. Like, I don't know. To me, I don't take the Maverick risk.
There's a lot of young riders. I mean, there's like Remy Gardner's coming up. Now they're talking about Brad Binder Brad's brother coming up. And they also have, what's his name, that American, Josh Roberts, I think it is.
Yeah.
That everybody's real high on. And there's a Turkish rider named, he's dominating, or he's one of the best riders on World Superbike. I forget his name.
Just said that
Toprak.
He's just saying he's staying in Superbike.
He's been pretty adamant that he's doing that, but what's his name? Toprak, yeah. That's his nickname, obviously. It's because his name is Toprak Razgat.
I just call him Raz.
Toprak. Yeah, but he wants to stay in whatever. But, who knows? If they back the Brinks truck up, they might be able to get him. Okay, so that's Maverick. What else did I have this weekend?
Should we look at the British GP, the track?
Yeah, sure. But I was looking to see what else we had. What else I had? Carl, did you have anything else? Did you like Bastianini losing his fairing?
I don't know what happened there.
Dude, somebody didn't put the little quick disconnects in the fairing. You have the little D-ring things. I think that's how normal racing bikes work. I don't know if they have something fancier for MotoGP, but yeah, you put the thing in, you twist it, and it must not have gripped the little rivet well enough. The little quick disconnects, and it just
unfortunate
flapping and then just ripped the whole thing off.
Unfortunate, but at least he wasn't going to be a contender. So unfortunate, but sucks for him. But
the big thing that sucks for those young riders is nobody's going to blame them for that. But you, as a rookie, you want to rack up as many top 10s and top 6s as you can. And if you get a mechanical, nobody blames you for the mechanical, but that's one less opportunity you have to get
a little less experience as well.
Yeah, you want to be able to, at the end of the year, like look at the 15 races or whatever and say, well, I was top 10 in 5 of them. But, well, I was top 10 in like 2, but 3 of them I had mechanicals in, so I lost the chance. So that sucks. Let's see. Do I have any things laughing?
Those were the major things for this week, I think.
My only other things were laughing at Dorna's coverage once again. Like, Mir was going around for his qualifying lap, and like he's on the last corner, and then the camera cuts to Mark, like fucking standing next to his bike, like pulling on the crotch on his leathers, trying to get ready to go on his bike. It's like, great, guys. Like, that's a good time to switch. Mir's on his final corner, and let's look at Mark adjusting the crotch on his leathers in standing next to his bike.
Yeah. They just have a number of those that I just look at why are you showing us this in the middle of something happening?
Did you try watching any of the races or any of the sessions on the app, on the MotoGP app this weekend?
No.
Greg, did you?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. Something about races on the MotoGP app?
Did you try watching any sessions on the app?
No.
Dude,
I just used the link. I didn't go through
the webpage.
I tried going through the app on this week.
Phone. Like on the phone browser, you can get to the webpage fine. So that's why.
The Dorna app is dog shit, and it hasn't changed in a while. If you try to Chromecast with it, especially on iOS, it's bad. Try to Chromecast with it, doesn't work. And this weekend, it wouldn't even let me log in. Well, it let me log in, but then I click on the video and it says you don't have a subscription and verify your subscription through iTunes. So what they did, and Greg, you'd appreciate this as a coder, what they did is they switched their verification. So instead of going to their server to verify you have an account, it's now going through, their subscription is going through iTunes.
Oh,
and it's like, I didn't sign up. I don't have a subscription through iTunes. I have a subscription through you.
Right.
And so it just says I don't have a subscription. I was like, all right. Pretty much no way to fix that for me to do anything on that. So
you're like, great, I'll never use your app again.
Is there any advantage?
You should give it a nice one-star rating.
Yeah, if you're being a lazy sucker and laying in bed and want to watch the race.
Well, I mean, I've watched it on my phone, but I use just the browser.
Yeah, the browser worked okay. The app just works a little cleaner.
App's more formatted for the phone.
Yeah, it's easier to full screen and all that. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I put my phone up on the little stand in the shower and just have like my headphones on and just chill there and chill in the shower and watch a session.
You got the waterproof headphones?
Yeah. The mic doesn't work on those headphones very well at all for talking on the phone, but they do hold up in the shower. Yeah, they do hold up in the shower just fine. And also, have you noticed, the last thing I had was, have you noticed that when they're watching qualifying and they're looking to see which rider Mark is going to try to get a tow from, is that Matt and Steve are always like in this race, they were like, how come nobody's following Zarco or Fabio? And I was like, dude, the same reason, if you look, every time riders look for a tow, they usually don't pick the fastest guy. They pick a guy that's pretty fast that kind of needs a good lap. That's who they follow. Because they're not going to try to follow Fabio or Zarco because they don't think they'll be able to hang with him.
Right.
So they pick like a guy.
Yeah. If you're thinking,
caught onto that,
I need help. You don't like the guy that just set the all-time record. Probably you aren't going to be following him very well.
Plus, I guess the bigger point is they don't need a good lap at that point because they've already got their hot lap in. But even before they need the good lap, it's still not a good idea to follow the guy that's been the fastest one all weekend. And they usually don't. I also noticed Mark wasn't using a tow in qualifying. So that spoke to me of him riding with more confidence. He wasn't using a tow. But that's real. I'm going to have to read some reports on that arm. That's really concerning.
Yeah.
Arm that Greg mentioned. If it's a cortisol, I was hopeful
Here it is. I'll pull up the article here. Yeah, Marquez had to get an injection of painkillers prior to the Australian MotoGP race. Here we go. I'll put this in the. I'm going to put this link. Is there a message board in here?
Yeah, there's a chat. Just click on the chat.
There you guys go.
Copy link address. I just want to see the headline. I'm not going to sit and read it, but that's really.
Yeah, that doesn't speak well.
You know what's kind of funny about this is if you search for it without being real specific, just if you just were to type in Marc Marquez, it's actually not on. You can't find it. I had to be very specific looking to find it. I had to type in like Marc Marquez pain.
He won the Saxon Ring in June. However, the later admitted that his severely broken arm pain last weekend forced him to inject the over-the-counter patient Enantium. 3 or 4 times he said he had to take the pain.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if that's what's been impacting him since he come back.
Well, I won't be surprised, but if yeah, I'm always whenever I see someone get injured, especially badly like that, like we've seen countless times that like some star in some sport has one big injury and it follows them the rest of their career. And they never quite recover from it.
Yeah, motorsport.com and Autosports reporting it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Prior owing to the pain in his.
Is there anything on the MotoGP like website? Have they?
No, they're usually slow to put this kind of stuff on the website. Oh, so that's his right arm. That sucks. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll find out more about it in the coming days.
Do you think he'll talk about it all in interviews?
No, because he probably won't give any. Well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to keep watching like some of the mains.
I wonder if the announcers too will say anything about it next race.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah,
They'll probably cover it in FP1. British G. I just blanked. What's the name of the track? Silverstone.
British. Oh yeah.
No, I don't. I should just search for the site for MotoGP.com, and they don't have anything on it.
Well, if you want to search MotoGP.com, you need to go to Google and then restrict.
No, that's what I just did.
Okay, because the MotoGP.com, their search function is horrible.
Most websites are. I think I read somewhere once that like only is like maybe 5% of web pages, like websites out there, major websites are actually even functional. Like most websites are just terrible. So I use Google's like site search most of the time. I usually don't use internal search engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just terrible.
Are you pulling up putting the track on the screen?
Yeah, you should be able to see it now. Can you see it?
No.
Really? You still see my face?
No,
it
just popped up. Yeah, super delayed.
Yeah, so this is all the races that I've ever seen at Silverstone have been awesome. It's a very.
This looks like a very cool track.
There's not very many huge straights, so it's a very like free flowing track. Mark's raced well here. Mark's won here. One of the best races I've ever seen, with the best finishes I've ever seen. I actually rewatched with you when I was out visiting you last, Greg, when it was the one where Alex Rins passed Mark.
Oh yeah,
on the finish line and beat him by about a wheel length.
Yes, that's right.
So
I wish we would have watched that full race. I think we only saw the last like 4 minutes of it.
Well, I didn't think your attention span would take the entire race, so we just watched the last like 5 laps. But
probably
now,
back then. No.
Well, no, because you hadn't ever watched the full race before. But
yeah.
You've seen so many.
So
full race is fun to watch.
Which turn do you think is the hardest?
I have no idea, man. I'm not. it takes, I think, a lot of years of watching before you're familiar with all the turns on the different tracks.
Okay.
Like these guys, you can ask a rider that. He's just like, oh yeah, turn 15 at Silverstone, or turn 3 at what's it called? The one we just had. Yeah, turn 3 at the Red Bull Ring or whatever.
I'm looking at 3, 4, and 5, and that thing looks just insane right at the beginning there.
Yeah, kind of the chicane there at 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think 10 and 11, or maybe it's more 12 and 13 usually have some pretty good passing.
Okay.
So when you see a chicane when they design a track, they put those kinks like 12 and 13 in there where they require you to change directions.
Yeah.
And the reason they do that is so you can oh, look, you can see my mouse. The reason they do that is so it forces the racers to slow down slightly. And then when they do that and they change directions, it allows other racers to take a variety of lines through the chicane and cut people off and stuff.
Interesting.
Where did we just race before this Styria? Where was before the break?
It was
Assen? Was it the Dutch GP?
It was Dutch.
Not, yeah. I think
It was Dutch.
Yeah, because I think that's where there's a really good chicane. You see a lot of great passes on. Like I said, I'm still not. That was another thought for my idea for Dorna's coverage is that they should start digitally labeling all the corners. So when it switches to a rider,
I actually agree with you on that.
There'd be a little label on the. It looked like it's on the track, but it'd just be digital, and you could see what corner number it was.
Yeah, even if they did it like this with the numbers.
Yeah, so the riders, the reviewers, would start to learn the corners, and
I actually agree with you 100% on that. That's actually a really good idea because the thing is, when you're watching it, you don't even really know where they are on the track. Well, at least I don't, because I don't know the track by heart. I started really trying this weekend, and by the end of the weekend, I was doing better. But I could really when it switched, you get used to where the cameras are in each corner. Yeah, and by the end, it was like watching Fabio, and I could say, oh, I can tell Fabio's this is corner 3 or this is corner 9 and 10, the two left-handers or right-handers to finish the track. Greg has good internet, but I don't know what's been going on with him today. I don't think it's his fault. I have this new place. I have crazy internet. My download speed.
I have actually worse internet just because now I'm in the apartment complex. So
I have super fast internet.
It's not as speed. There's little interruptions, but I also just
see what I'm doing.
I also just got a VPN. So since I did that, it's been a little bit more consistent.
Look at my upload.
Joel, is that yours?
Yeah, that's mine. So, and that's through a VPN as well.
Well, that can sometimes improve your connectivity. So
I got 300 and almost 100 upload speed the other day. It's Sunday, so there's more people online.
I have 390. I have 390 megabits right now.
The upload speed was crazy. I uploaded like a 5 gigabyte or like a 2 gigabyte file to Google Drive, and it took like 10 minutes. I was in shock.
Yeah, I think
it usually takes me hours.
Part of it's been Jitsi, because remember we were on Jitsi one time and it did that too.
It might be. It might be because it can't handle multiple people or something, but
yeah,
who knows?
Whatever, internet is fast now, so everyone has fast internet.
Well, I just hope it's been fast. It's just like cell phones. It's been fast enough for a long time. I just hope it can be more consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's the consistency that's always been the issue for me. Rather than
I only need like 25, 30 megabytes.
Everybody talks about, I need this much, megabit downloads. It's like, how much porn are you downloading? Like, you don't need that much speed.
Well, when I downloaded a video game, the download was like 35 gigs.
Well, yeah, and how often are you doing that?
just like one time. And
yeah, and so that's the thing. It's like 5G and stuff like that.
And like,
You
thank
weren't
God for VPNs, because I did not catch any emails from my internet, from my ISP telling me I was downloading illegal content.
maybe I have gotten that, but I've just never paid attention to them.
Well, they say on there, they like, well, we might terminate your service. I was like, I kind of need it for work.
Yeah,
Please don't
same.
terminate.
But I got the VPN, so yeah. But yeah, like I'm not rebuying a 5-year-old game because I have a computer now that can play it instead of my Xbox. Like I spent $40 on that game to get it for my Xbox. I'm not rebuying it for my
But then
PC.
you might have a re-release and you have to rebuy it again.
Yeah, all right. I know, you got to buy like Mass Effect 2. It's like a freaking 12-year-old game, and they're charging like $30 for it.
New re-release
for a digital download. Marginal cost of them is 0, and it's like, oh, screw yourselves.
Get Windows, it's $100.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
All right.
yeah. I mean, thanks for going a little late to your thing, Carl. You can always too like do audio only and just like call in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I probably could leave right now and reconnect, but I think you're just going to talk about the next race. So.
Oh no, we're kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
will
go ahead and jump off.
Yep. No. Good. Fantastic race. Like.
Just a fun.
I mean, like I said, it was the first half. Like most of the race was really a completely different thing, but all props to Brad for doing that.
Yeah, just a very fun weekend.
Great win. No, it was great.
And I'm kind of looking forward to a week off. Obviously, I did. Dude, I'm actually kind of looking forward. Let me stop the.
Stop the record.
Yeah, where do you? Oh, there it is.